joining us from New York is our sports editor, Selina Sykes, and on set with me is our former sports editor, Kethevane, Gorjestani. Great to see you. So, Selina, you're there in New York. Kickoff is just 4 hours away. How's the atmosphere?
Well, Catherine, a lot of excitement in the air here in New York. Lots of fans are already out and about, obviously already busily, I think, trying to get to the stadium because it's all the way in New Jersey, and most fans are obviously staying in the centre of New York, and it's quite a tough journey. So lots of fans already fueling themselves, getting breakfast in their bellies before they make the long journey to the stadium, which we'll see kick off at 3 p.m. The atmosphere here last night in particular was absolutely incredible. It has to be said that, let's just say that the Argentinians are in the majority. They took over Times Square last night, chanting and singing. They were waving flags of Maradona and Messi's faces. Just seen a few Spanish fans filing past as well. They're obviously not to be forgotten, but Argentina are very much in the majority from what I can see now in New York City.
Now, Selina, you mentioned there those Argentina fans. That big final tonight is a clash between the defending champions, Argentina, and the European champions, Spain. But it's also a clash of generations. We've got Spain's 19-year-old Lamine Yamal and Argentina's legendary 39-year-old Lionel Messi.
That's right, Catherine. Who would have thought it? I think just about everyone now watching the World Cup has seen that iconic photo of Messi giving Lamine Yamal a bath when he was just a few months old. A sense of a prophecy, shall we say. A lot of people have been saying about that photo. Who would have thought it, that the two are now going to be playing against each other in a World Cup final. Messi, as you said, at 39 years old, still performing at the top level. A lot of people thought that he would bow out after the 2022 World Cup, but he's back here again and performing remarkably. He is in contention for that hotly contested Golden Boot race. He's got 8 goals so far. He knows that he needs to get at least 2. 2 will be enough to beat Kylian Mbappe because he has more assists. Mbappe, who netted 2 goals yesterday to take his tally to 10. And obviously then you've got Lamine Yamal, who for many is the pretender, the player who will take over Messi's mantle once he does finally hang up his boots. Yamal, at just 19 years old, has already achieved so much in his career. He's already won the Euros, of course, with Spain. He was absolutely exceptional in that tournament and played a central role to their winning that trophy back in 2024. He's had a bit of a low-key one, it has to be said, at this tournament. He obviously came into the World Cup still struggling with a hamstring injury that he picked up on duty with Barcelona at the end of the domestic season. But we've seen glimmers of that talent that obviously excites the football world so much. And obviously he'll be looking to step up today and perform at the highest level in the final.
Selina, stay with us. I want to bring in Ket now. So obviously this was a huge tournament to organize. There were a lot of concerns leading up to the beginning of the tournament. Now, nearly 6 weeks later, what's your take on how things have turned out?
Well, look, there were a lot of concerns, especially for the part of the tournament that was taking place in the United States because of the policies of this U.S. administration. There were concerns about possible ICE raids, the immigration police happening outside of stadiums or outside of fan zones. That did not turn out to happen. That was pretty safe, at least for fans and players and all of that. But unfortunately, there were plenty of controversies when it comes to the U.S. immigration policy. Remember the story of the Somali referee Omar Artan, who was supposed to officiate during this World Cup and was banned from entering the country, from entering the United States, even though he had a visa and is the biggest and best referee on the African continent. Then you had the whole controversy surrounding the Iranian team, who had to move their base camp from the United States to Mexico and then travel back and forth to the U.S. every time they played, leaving behind fined half of their staff who weren't authorized to enter the U.S. You even had the DHS secretary celebrating when they got eliminated, saying, well, good riddance. Now we don't need to deal with those guys. And you had also all the fans, all the reporters, especially from African countries or from the Middle East, who were not given visas to come and attend these games in the United States. Yes, you had full stadiums, but it was largely due to a lot of South American and European fans, but also to the broad diasporas that you have in the United States. And you add to that the very high price of the tickets, and a lot of people simply didn't get to enjoy the sport within the stadium. And then there was the Balogun gate. Folarin Balogun, the U.S. player who got red carded during a game, only to have the president of the United States, Donald Trump, calling up his friend Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, to have that red card overturned, bringing a lot of controversy and a lot of anger from a lot of teams, especially the Belgians, who were then facing the Americans and who battered the Americans in that game. But it was probably this intervention the most blatant political direct intervention into a football game that we've seen in a long time. Besides that intervention, though, Donald Trump pretty absent from this competition all the way up to today, because he is expected to go to the final, sit down next to Gianni Infantino, and expected also to be there to give the trophy. Remember last year at the Club World Cup, he did that, and he actually hung out on stage and stayed with the team when usually the people who hand over the trophy then walk off the stage to let the players celebrate.
I guess we'll have to see what he does this evening. So, ladies, I have a final question for the both of you. Selina, I'll start with you. What was your highlight from the competition, and who do you think is going to be the big winner this evening?
From my take on the ground, I'm going to give you two highlights. So firstly, obviously, we were following the French side, which meant that the vast majority of our time up until now was spent in Boston, which was where the French were based. So I have to say it's obviously the Scottish takeover of Boston. What an incredible thing to see. That's really what the World Cup is all about, with all the kilts and traffic cones being put on statues' heads. And then obviously, I just have to quickly throw in that as an England fan, seeing Jude Bellingham serenaded in Miami after his spectacular performance to get them through against Norway in the quarterfinals is an absolutely remarkable moment. For me, who will win? I think it will be Spain. They have been more impressive over the competition. They've suffocated their opponents, obviously, with their high possession football and that remarkable defence.
Thank you, Selina. And Ket, same to you. What were the highlights, and who do you think is going to be the big successor this evening?
Well, look, my highlight was actually the 48 teams present. I was not a big fan of the expansion at first, but we got those great stories like Cape Verde. That was really great to watch, those small teams. So I think that was one of the highlights. And for the prognosis, what is happening tonight, I will go with Selina and with Spain because exactly of what she said.
Okay, great. Thank you, ladies, both so much for speaking football tonight as we look ahead to this evening's World Cup final.